The 2002-03 season is famous for Celtic's European run. It started out badly in Champions League qualifying, losing out to FC Basel of Switzerland on away goals. Celtic dropped it into the UEFA Cup to play FK Sudova and beat them 10-1 in aggregate before taking on Graham Souness's Blackburn Rovers and beating them home and away 1-0 and then 2-0 down in Blackburn. Celtic faced Celta Vigo and beat them 1-0 at Celtic Park as well. And a 2-1 defeat, thanks to John Hartson's away goal, meant Celtic went through anyway. Stuttgart were next and they lost 3-1 at Celtic Park. Two early goals for Celtic from Alan Thompson and Chris Sutton made sure that Celtic didn't have a problem with away goals this time, and although they lost 3-2, they went through anyway. Liverpool were the next opponents. The 1-1 draw at Celtic Park was followed up by a famous night at Anfield, beating them 2-0 and going through to the semi-final. Celtic faced Boa Vista there and drew 1-1 at Celtic Park again, but it was Henrik Larsson's late goal in Portugal which made sure that Celtic went through to the UEFA Cup final in Seville, where they faced another Portuguese side, Porto. Porto led 1-0 and 2-1 in this game, but 2-2 and at full time the game went to extra time. Ultimately, Bobo Baldi was sent off and Porto scored a third goal, winning the cup. The League Cup for Celtic started off with a 4-2 win against Inverness, and then a 1-1 draw in the quarter-final with Partick Thistle, and then that game went to penalties, and 18 penalties were taken and only 9 were scored, 5-4 in Celtic's favour. There was then a 3-0 win against Dundee United in the semi-final at Hampden, but a 2-1 defeat to Rangers in the final came courtesy of a poorly linesman decision where John Hartson was never offside, and John Hartson also missed a penalty in that game. Not great. That was just before Anfield. Just after Anfield came the 1-0 defeat up in the Highlands to Inverness. That had come after 3-0 wins over both St Mirren and St Johnstone at Celtic Park in the previous rounds. The league was a real sick in a row. 97 points from 38 games, 31 wins, 4 draws and 3 defeats. The exact same record as Rangers. But Rangers were ahead, plus 73 against their plus 72 in goal difference, so won by a single goal. The head-to-head was in Celtic's favour. We'd won 2 of the derbies, they'd only won 1, and the other one was a draw. And the drop points were almost identical as well. Motherwell managed to win against both Celtic and Rangers at Fir Park. Kilmarnock, Aberdeen and Dundee all drew at home against Celtic and Rangers. The only difference was a defeat at Tynecastle for Celtic. Rangers never lost to Hearts. So that took it down to the final day. Rangers won 6-1 against Dunfermline at home in the final day. Celtic went to Kilmarnock and had a credible 4-0, but it just wasn't enough. And Larson was top scorer with 28, but it was scant consolation for losing out. And ultimately, the Rangers team that won the treble. In terms of kits, this was the away kit. This is the exact t-shirt I wore in Seville with Larson on the back, of course. The home kit was the one with the panels again. It was replaced in the UEFA Cup final itself with the 100 Years of the Hoops, the new kit that was coming out, and it had an NTL sponsor rather than a Carlin sponsor, but a one-off. So that's a unique kit, and you'll see that in the next video.